does this go full on mainstream in North America within a year or two?
Yeah, if rescheduling happens, and we've spoken to Nasdaq, and Nasdaq wants to retain the business and wants to do more business in the cannabis industry. So rescheduling happens, and there's some safe harbor language included for the exchanges.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a game changer for companies like High Tide and even more companies that want to list on the big exchanges, which is all of the US MSOs. I'm sure it's their dream to be on the Nasdaq. We're already there. That's our advantage, right? People underscore the opportunity that we have in Nasdaq in terms of liquidity, etc. We're a Canadian name, so we've been ignored for a very long time. But when you have free cash flow coming out, meaningful free cash flow coming out at a 5 months ahead of schedule that you promised the market, I mean, we are starting.
So, as you can see, High Tide CEO talked about moving on to the Nasdaq. Sorry, talked about moving into the US before even legalization if the Nasdaq allowed it. So basically, if companies like Trulieve, Curaleaf, Cresco Labs, Green Thumb Industries, if they're able to list on the Nasdaq or the New York Stock Exchange, it could be a big deal for High Tide, because then those exchanges are allowing cannabis companies in the U.S. to list on the exchange. So what's the Well, so why can't High Tide go in and start acquiring companies in the U.S. to get a footprint in the U.S. if the Nasdaq is allowing companies like Trulieve and Curaleaf and all the other big multi-state operators to list on the Nasdaq and the New York Stock Exchange? So there's a potential that we don't have to wait for the U.S. legalization, and High Tide, Tilray, and Canopy, and all those other companies will be able to move into the U.S. before legalization, which would be a big deal, which would be very exciting for the overall industry. So yeah, I hope that's the case. That would really help pump High Tide stock if that was a scenario, like in a big way, because High Tide executed in Canada. They became one of the top players in Canada from a revenue stance. So if they can do that in the US too, they could become a pretty big cannabis company in the future and make long-term investors really rich. Well, smart long-term investors that bought at the bottom really rich. So I'm not advocating buying anywhere time here, but if the price was to drop dramatically, I wouldn't be against it. Again, not financial advice, not financial advisor. Do your own research, whatever, follow your own gut instinct. Do whatever you want. I like this company. Like I said, I made a promise. I will not sell this for 1 year. So yeah. Anyways, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.